Life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient. Steve Maraboli. This video course is built on the foundations of the statement above. Life is not a bed of roses, and the earlier you realize this, the better for you. Many people crash and even take their lives because they expected life to go easy on them. Unfortunately, life is such an unpredictable spouse that promises you forever but can file a divorce the following week. It is no news that life is volatile, like the stock market, but unfortunately, many people are not prepared for it. It's this lack of preparation that makes people unable to cope with the fiery darts life throws at them. When you're not mentally prepared for the adversities of life, you'll throw in the towel too soon. This lack of resilience is one of the reasons many people are depressed in the world today. It's also the reason many people have either taken or attempted to take their lives. According to the World Health Organization, around 800,000 people around the world kill themselves every year. This development is sad, and that is why you need to become stronger, develop the muscles of your mind, and build up a tough skin according to the recommendations of Steve Maraboli. You don't get stronger for life by hitting the gym. Rather, the preparation is mainly, if not purely, mental and psychological. This video course was put together to enable you to build mental strength that can sustain you during the days of adversity. It's going to be a beautiful journey that can be life-changing depending on your attitude. Let's begin. In this video, we'll discover about the trainer called adversity. Experience is the best teacher. Adversity is the most accomplished trainer. No one really ever wants to face misfortune. We would have all preferred to go through life enjoying the ride without bumps. However, things are not always as planned, and life is not a bed of roses and chocolates. There are always thorns somewhere. In this chapter, we'll explore how the troubles that come our way have come to make us and not break us. Tough times are not avoidable. The truth that many people wish isn't true, but is the reality, is that adversity is inevitable. There's no magic potions or wands that can make an individual avoid troubles and misfortunes in life. Therefore, you shouldn't be hoping that you won't encounter unpleasant periods in your life. Rather, you shouldn't be hoping that you won't experience difficulties that will break you to the extent that you won't be able to rise up. Indeed, there are terrible situations that can shake a person and make you feel you are cursed. However, if you can keep rising from the ashes like the phoenix, you can live a beautiful life. Adversity isn't avoidable because of the following reasons. You have dreams you want to achieve. The year 2006 must have been one of the worst years for former Arsenal and French national team football player Thierry Henry. It was a year Thierry was teary because of the unfortunate situations he found himself in. He lost both the World Cup final and the UEFA Champions League final that year. These two trophies are the greatest in world football, and every footballer dreams of winning one or even both trophies before they retire. In fact, some great football players are mocked after their retirement when they didn't win these trophies during their active days. So for a man to have lost both trophies in the same year is indeed a sad situation. Thierry Henry would go on to win the Champions League with Barcelona eventually. The point is that we face challenges and sad days because we have dreams and aspirations we want to accomplish. So we become frustrated when we don't achieve them. As long as a person has goals he wants to achieve, adversity is inevitable. You have people and things you care about. Another reason tough times are unavoidable is that we have loved ones and things we want to work out. We all hope to enjoy the companionship and camaraderie of our friends and families for a long time. However, this is not often the case. Sometimes we lose them to unfortunate situations, such as diseases and accidents. Those days are sad and dark in our lives. It's often tough to move on after the loss of a person very dear to us. Sadly, these situations are part and parcel of life. So adversity isn't avoidable because we don't have control over situations, such as how long our loved ones will live. We care about them, and will definitely be devastated when we lose them. We have emotions. One of the biggest differences between human beings and robots is the fact that we have emotions, and they don't. Our feelings are some of the most beautiful parts of our lives. They're the reasons we feel appreciated when people celebrate us on our birthdays, or when we achieve something significant. Our emotions are also the reasons we feel connected to loved ones and enjoy spending time with them. However, our feelings are also responsible for unpleasant states such as depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideations. It's because you can feel that you are sad when you experience heartbreak. A robot, regardless of its sophistication, doesn't understand such things. Your feelings are also responsible for experiences such as betrayals, disappointments, and frustrations. You will always have reasons for such feelings as long as you are alive. Therefore, adversity isn't avoidable. Adversity is a trainer. In the words of Booker T. Washington, success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, as by the obstacles which he has overcome. You should not ignore such wise words. Having been a leading voice of former slaves and their descendants who weathered oppression at different times, Washington knows a thing or two about adversity, so you should listen to what he has to say. You might not like the sound of it, but adversity is needed. It is that trainer that takes you by the hand and leads you to the destination of your success. So count all the joy during those days when it feels as though the universe has a grudge against you. It's the training that will take away the dross from your silver and make you a shiny star. According to Tony Robbins, problems are the gifts that make us dig out and figure out who we are, what we're made for, and what we're responsible to give back to life. So quit cursing your luck during those moments you feel like your world is crashing. Your training is on. If you see things this way, you'll be able to build more resilience. There is no other way to make a person strong and rugged than the tough times he or she has had. Those moments make you realize that you're stronger than you think. When you're always avoiding challenging situations, you're missing the opportunities to train yourself for future challenges. Below are the reasons you should not run away from challenges. You'll not be able to achieve your goals. There are always challenges you have to overcome before you can achieve a goal. Indeed, the level of difficulties differs. However, you must encounter and overcome difficult situations to accomplish your dreams and aspirations in life. Therefore, it isn't surprising that Booker T. Washington said earlier that the success of a man should be measured by how many obstacles he has overcome. No one can become a success without solving problems. Anyone who's not willing to succeed despite odds stacking up against him should forget about becoming an achiever. You'll become vulnerable. The last thing you want is to be treated like a weakling. Nonetheless, you can set yourself up to be vulnerable to changes when you have a culture of looking for the easy way out. This approach will make you restricted to your plan A. You will not be able to recover once something interferes with your original plan. For example, you will not be able to come up with another winning strategy as an entrepreneur once your initial strategy isn't working. You'll not be able to cope effectively with stress. Whether we like it or not, we cannot avoid stress. Therefore, it's crucial that we have excellent coping mechanisms and strategies to avoid being overwhelmed by stress. When you have faced a stressful situation before, you won't be anxious when facing it again. However, when you are new to a situation, you mightn't have the confidence to face it because you are naive. This state of mind makes you prone to mistakes, which can be costly and damaging in some situations. In this video, we'll talk about critical facts about adversity. It's easy to fall for the deception that some people are naturally more resilient than others. The truth is that resilience can be learned. You can be more sturdy and rugged when you understand some critical facts about turbulent times. This chapter will explore some vital things you need to know about adversity that can give you a paradigm shift when facing difficult situations. Tough times don't last forever. You've probably heard people make this statement many times, such that it is beginning to sound like a cliche. You just have to accept the fact that it is an evergreen fact you need to keep remembering over and over again to scale through the hurdles and challenges of life. The reason two people face the same challenge but have different responses is their state of mind. The truth is that there are people around the world who have faced more difficult situations and still succeeded where you failed. So, you will be doing yourself a lot of good by choosing not to give excuses, but finding solutions to the problems you encounter. The first thing you need to realize about turbulent times is that they are short-lived. The intensity and circumstances surrounding some situations might make you feel like you've come to the end of the road. Nonetheless, it's nothing but a mirage. If you choose to be calm, you will find a way out of the problem. Tough times are only for a while. The following facts confirm this claim. You have been in trouble before. When you realize that you've had challenging periods in your life in the past and you pulled through, it should make you know that troubles are only for a while. They come and try to throw you off balance. However, if you can stand your ground, you'll only get stronger. You had felt all hope was lost in the past. Another reason you shouldn't lose hope in the current situation is that you had been in seemingly hopeless situations before and you survived. If you could survive back then, why can't you repeat the feat again? The current situation is another challenging circumstance trying to break you. Just like previous times, there's a way out this time around. Nothing lasts forever, including your troubles. You need to remember that statement whenever you're experiencing tough times that might ruin all the progress you've made recently. Adversity is for all. One of the reasons people struggle to recover from turbulent times is that they feel that life has been more unfair to them than others. It's easy to compare yourself with other people in the modern world, thanks to social media. However, what you might be forgetting is the fact that people often post their best moments online. They hardly post pictures or say anything about the days they are broken because of an unpleasant situation. So you feel bad and worthless because you feel life has dealt you unfair cards while favoring others. However, it's not true that some people are handpicked for suffering, while others are selected for positive experiences. Life is like a coin. It has two sides. One side of it is full of pleasant moments, while the other side is full of disappointments and frustrations. Therefore, don't get too excited when you're experiencing the side of the coin that is full of enjoyable situations, and think that is what you will always get from life. You should keep the memories safe because you'll need them during the days when things turn awry for you. In the same way, when life is flipped to the other side of the coin where there's adversity, don't think that this is the end of your life. If you keep calm and forge ahead, you'll soon see the light at the end of the tunnel. The beautiful thing about life is that it is fair to all. How? We all experience its two sides. Besides, no one is allowed to choose the part of life they want. Not even the richest men and women can choose what they want in life. Indeed, their money can take them to a great extent. Nonetheless, there are limitations. If money can save everyone, rich people would never die of any sickness. However, famous and wealthy people lose their lives while receiving treatment. Besides, they also lose their loved ones. They experience divorce and heartbreaks, just like any other person. For example, Andy Murray, a popular tennis star, lost his former girlfriend due to his habit of playing games a lot. So don't think you lost your relationship because you're broke. Whoever loves you will stick by you regardless of your financial capability. Regardless of your fame, money, and social status, you'll have both sunny and rainy days. Enjoy your beautiful moments and share them with the people that matter to you. Nonetheless, on those days when it's though life isn't smiling at you, remember that adversity happens to all. There is no glory without adversity. Finally, in this chapter, it's crucial to remember that you cannot become a champion without tough times. Conquerors are what they are because they are battle-hardened. They've been hit at different times, but they refuse to give up. The best military units in the world were forged in the furnace of adversity. They've been physically and mentally trained to be alert and respond to problematic situations. Champions don't see challenges and break down in tears. Instead, they eat trouble for breakfast. When you see how calm some people are when facing turbulent times, you might be tempted to wonder if they are human beings. However, nobody was born that way. We become weak or strong due to our previous responses to challenging situations. When you run away from a problem, you'll have to keep running from similar situations for the rest of your life. However, when you confront the problem and solve it, you'll not be anxious when you are in similar situations in the future. If you keep running away from challenges, you'll remain mediocre for the rest of your life. You'll have to endure watching others enjoy the limelight because of their grit and determination. You'll always be in the crowd celebrating others, but you'll never be celebrated. The world doesn't award or celebrate people who break down when they are facing difficult situations. Rather, the world celebrates people who refuse to give up, even when the odds were stacked against them. The stories of such people are the inspiring biographies and autobiographies we read today. Their stories are made into blockbuster movies, so that others facing similar situations can learn from them. The ball is in your court now. Will you give up or choose to stand up to your Goliath and become a champion? I implore you to choose the latter, not the former, because that is the only way you can be celebrated. In this video, we'll discover about even the rich cries. In the last chapter, we stated and explained the fact that adversity happens to all. Contrary to popular opinion, famous and wealthy people also experience turbulent times that could have derailed their upward trajectory. In this chapter, we will look at some specific examples of famous people who were formed and molded in the furnace of adversity. They had failed before but refused to let those moments define them. Walt Disney. The man who gave us Tom and Jerry and other classic animations is known all over the world for his creativity and ability to create thrilling cartoons. However, many people are not aware of the story behind his success. Do you know that he was once sacked from the Kansas City Star? Why? His editor felt that he lacked the creativity and ideas needed to succeed at the top. Of course, it sounds ridiculous. However, this is the truth. If you think that this story is shocking, you need to wait until you hear more about this great man. Undeterred by his sack, he formed his first animation company in 1921 in Kansas City. He would ship his cartoons to a distribution company in New York and get paid 6 months later. Apparently, no company can survive on such a ridiculous arrangement. He eventually closed the firm because he couldn't afford his rent. and could barely feed himself. You were wondering how a man who encountered such challenges became nominated for 59 Academy Awards eventually. He knew within him that tough times don't last forever, and refused to give in even when the odds were stacked against him. Oprah Winfrey. The next person on this list is the self-made billionaire, Oprah Winfrey. Her story is an inspiration to many people around the world today because she is an example of how adversity can make us stronger. She had many reasons to give up and believed that she wasn't destined for the top. However, she didn't give up and kept forging ahead. She was born into a working-class family where poverty was the order of the day. Her mother gave birth to her while she was still in her teens. Unfortunately, Winfrey became pregnant when she was 14. And gave birth to a child who died shortly after birth. It sounds all gloomy, and it was as if her life would only end in doom. Nonetheless, she had different ideas. She would go to school and became a journalist. Things didn't get better immediately despite her commendable efforts to improve her life. In one of her first jobs, the producer advised her to quit because she wasn't cut out for television. However, she didn't allow those negative words to get to her. She kept pushing. And she has inspired many people around the world because of her sheer courage and determination to succeed. Bill Gates. Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest men in the world. However, the poster boy of Microsoft wasn't always a success. He struggled to find his niche in the early part of his life before he eventually got it right. Gates started TrafoData, a company that was created to generate reports for roadway engineers from raw traffic data. He started the company alongside 2 other businessmen. Nonetheless, things didn't go as planned and expected. They had to close the company when the machine that was built to process the data tanked upon presentation to a Seattle County traffic employee. However, Gates wasn't deterred by this unfortunate situation. He decided to start from scratch by learning the lessons from his first experience. The lessons from his first failed attempt to build a company gave him the blueprint for one of the biggest companies in the world. Colonel Sanders. The story of Colonel Sanders showed us that it's never too late to start a global brand. Indeed, it's always better to start early. However, Colonel Sanders proved to us all that you can start a thriving business, even at an old age. He started building his fast food empire when he was already 62 years old. Yes, you read that correctly. He was at a stage in his life when many people would be enjoying their retirement or looking forward to it. Nonetheless, he decided to go against the status quo. He presented his chicken recipe to different restaurants. Reports have it that he was rejected by more than 1,000 people. However, the Colonel was resilient enough not to give up. His determination eventually paid off when he found success with a restaurant outside of Utah. The restaurant became the first Kentucky Fried Chicken. The company tripled its sales in a year thanks to the Colonel's Chicken. Whenever you feel like giving up, remember the doggedness of this man and hang in there. J.K. Rowling. Have you read or watched Harry Potter? The brain behind that story is J.K. Rowling. A tremendous success, isn't she? However, when you find out what things were like for her before her breakthrough, you will appreciate her success even more. J.K. Rowling had felt that she had written something so beautiful publishers would be scrambling to publish. Nonetheless, things weren't the way she expected. She would go on to submit the manuscript to 12 major publishers, who all rejected it to her dismay and shock. It was a work that she had produced despite encountering challenges that would have made others quit writing for something they felt would be more lucrative. She was divorced and had a child to support by the time she finished the first parts of the book. So during those hard times when the work was rejected, she could have felt that writing wasn't her thing. Nonetheless, she decided to try again. She submitted the manuscript a year later, and Bloomsbury accepted it. The company extended a small €1,500. However, it turned out to be one of the best decisions the firm ever made. Stephen King. Even if you aren't a fan of horror, the name Stephen King still rings a bell. He's a fantastic example of the success we can achieve when we choose to try again after several denials. King could have given up on one of his greatest works ever, Carrie, if he had listened to the voice of critics who told him that his ideas were outlandish. He made a difference at a time when horror wasn't in vogue. His times weren't like our days when it's easier to publish books. King submitted the manuscript of Carrie to 30 publishers, but they all turned him down. Think about it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, come on. Many people would have given up already. Interestingly, one of the publishers told King to forget about publishing the book because negative utopias don't sell. In fact, King had given up and thrown the manuscript into a bin. However, he gave it one more trial when his wife retrieved it and encouraged him to try it one more time. It sounded ridiculous. Why will the 31st attempt be different from the first 30? King listened to his wife, and the rest is history. In this video, we'll discuss about why you should stand during periods of adversity. One thing is certain, difficult periods will never leave you the same way they met you. They will either break or make you. Regardless of the support you get from people around you, you have a vital role to play to ensure that you come out stronger and not become vulnerable after the experience. There are some benefits you will enjoy when you choose to stay strong during bad days. Here are some of them. Greater resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after a setback. It's a virtue many people don't possess. Unfortunately for them, it's a skill that everyone must possess because of the unpredictable nature of life. The topsy-turvy nature of life, where you're smiling in the morning and sad in the evening, requires mental strength to stay strong in the face of adversity. Only resilient people can weather the storm and still reach their destinations. Lack of resilience is the reason people suffer from mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety. It's also the reason some people feel that the best decision they can make during dark days is to take their lives. So, it's crucial to build a resilient spirit. However, you can never achieve this feat when you have never had to weather the storm. It's adversity that trains you to be mentally strong. When you face a challenge and you come out on the other side in flying colors, you have increased the level of your resilience. This doesn't mean that you should crave and desire to be in unpleasant situations. However, when you find yourself in one, see it as an opportunity to build the mental strength for the future. Enhanced problem-solving skills. Just like resilience, problem-solving skills aren't inherited. They are acquired as a result of facing and overcoming challenges. You cannot know how to solve a problem when you don't have the right attitude. Your attitude is your mental disposition to a particular thing or situation that triggers a specific behavioral pattern. When you have the right attitude, you'll believe that every problem has a solution, even when you don't have the answers yet. That positive state of mind will inspire you to ask the right questions from the right people and eventually find ways to solve the problem. Indeed, the right mindset will take you far. It will make you dogged and rugged. However, you cannot solve a problem unless you have the skills. You need to know how to tackle a challenge, and nothing gives you that better than when you have dealt with a similar problem in the past. So when you face a challenge and overcome it, you've enhanced your ability to solve problems. You will be able to use the experience to solve similar problems in the future. You know what to do, and that gives you an edge over others who are new to such situations. Leadership skills. Leaders are chosen and trusted because of their experience and ability. No one wants to hire a person who has never driven a car before to be his or her driver. You want a person you can trust to get you to your destination with minimal stress. When you have faced adversity in the past and you stood your ground, you'll enhance your suitability as a leader. It's natural that people will want to trust you. You'll command their respect when they know that you've been through similar situations before and succeeded. Great leaders are men and women who can keep a calm head when there's a storm. They're the ones others trust as a source of inspiration when the chips are down. Everyone needs the leader that will stir up optimism during the dark days when throwing in the towel seems like the obvious choice. People always need people they can believe in. They want to believe in you. They want to be sure that you know what you're doing, even when what you are saying doesn't make sense to them. It is the days of adversity that prepares you for such a sensitive role. Higher self-esteem. It's natural that you'll have a sense of accomplishment after overcoming a challenge. You'll be proud of yourself, and this improves the way you see yourself. You will see yourself as a person that deserves the respect and love of others because you can add value to their lives. When you have low self-esteem, you're likely to have low self-efficacy. Your self-efficacy is the level of confidence you have in your ability to succeed in a task before performing it. When you have low self-esteem, people will find it difficult to trust you to handle their projects, which can also take its toll on your chances of getting a job. It will also make others not want to trust you to lead them. Low self-esteem can also affect your chances of making new friends, which can be socially damaging. Empathy. When you've never been through what others have been through, you'll find it difficult to empathize with them. There is no level of understanding you can have that can be the same as a person who has lost his or her loved ones before. If you have never had that kind of experience, you cannot have a full grasp of what such people are going through. The world is full of many destructive critics today who are either hypocrites or just lack the understanding of what others are going through. Some football pundits who have never coached any football club before are fond of making damaging remarks about current coaches. It's easy for them to judge others because they don't know what it means to try to make over 20 people do what you want while keeping them happy. When you have been through tough times, you'll be able to relate well with people going through such periods of their lives. You'll not tell them to just move on from the situation. You'll have words of encouragement for them. If you are their boss, you'll not have issues with giving them days off to recover emotionally from the shock. Lower anxiety. Some people have a culture of being calm and collected even when facing extremely challenging situations. You expect them to break down and shed tears, but they seem unmoved by the problem they are facing. In most cases, such people have an experience of being in such situations in the past. They are hurt, but they know that they don't have to make decisions they will regret later due to how they feel at the moment. In some cases, they are the ones that will be encouraging the people that have to come to console them. Such people exude confidence and transmit tranquility that is often shocking. This commendable and exemplary state of mind comes from facing different unpleasant situations and choosing to move on. You can also acquire this mental state when you choose to focus on the positives when going through stormy periods. Giving up or standing up is all about making a choice. When you experience setbacks, the obvious choice is throwing in the towel and telling all who cares to listen about your predicaments. However, the good news is that you have another option. You can choose to look at the brighter side and forge ahead. It's never over until you say so. In this video, we'll talk about the dangers of withering under pressure. When you break down when facing difficult periods, you have a lot to lose. It doesn't only show that you are weak, but it also shows that you have not been mentally prepared for the days of adversity. Here are some of the dangers of bowing down to the pressures of life. Depression. According to the National Network of Depression Centers, 1 in 5 Americans will be affected by depression in their lifetimes. This psychological problem, alongside anxiety, is one of the leading mental issues in the world today. This fact isn't too shocking because the modern world is full of potentially mentally damaging situations. When you are not sturdy enough to weather your stormy days, you will plunge into depression. Note that depression isn't the same as the regular brief moments of sadness we experience due to an unpleasant occurrence in our daily activities. What makes it depression is the intensity and the period. A person suffering from depression will experience intense feelings of sadness that can last for a significant part of the day. It can even last for days or weeks. One of the signs of depression is social withdrawal. This is a situation where you prefer to stay more indoors and sleep on your bed than go out with friends and family. There is nothing wrong with having occasional times when you just want to be alone. However, it is a problem if it's something you do a lot. Talk to a therapist as soon as possible if you often experience negative emotions, before it leads to suicidal ideations. Lack of self-confidence. If you don't believe in yourself, no one will take that gamble on you. It's only in very rare cases people hand responsibilities to people who don't believe they have what it takes to succeed in a role. One of the reasons such people are given responsibilities is usually because there's no other person that can be trusted to take the role. When you allow your challenges to overwhelm you, your confidence will be shattered. You will get used to giving excuses for your failures. In fact, in most cases, you would have said it beforehand that you'll not succeed in the task. So when you fail, you will remind your critics that you have already predicted your failure before then. It's all right to have a realistic evaluation of your abilities. Nonetheless, the truth is that there are cases you will never know what you can do until you make an attempt. So the best test of your ability to solve a problem is to try. Some people have been lucky enough to stumble on the solution to a problem because they made an attempt. Such people made their own luck. Luck only favors the bold. Approach a situation like someone who has nothing to lose. If you fail, you would have learned how not to do it. Loss of trust. If you want people to trust you, then you need to start facing your challenges and seeking ways to overcome them. If you have a history of petering out when the going gets tough, no one will trust you. This can be problematic and limiting when you have ambitions to attain leadership positions. One of the attributes of great leaders is their ability to solve problems. No one will remember the leader who went into hiding when things weren't going smoothly. If you want to become that person others can trust during their stormy days, you must be known for your ability to stay strong when you're facing challenging situations. It is when you have been able to solve your own problems that you can help others. Fear. Fear is part and parcel of our lives as human beings. It is the reason we build strong walls and fences around our homes and communities. It's also the reason we go for medical checkups. We don't want anything that will compromise our security or damage our health. However, it's a problem when you are overwhelmed by your fears, such that they prevent you from attempting to make the best out of your life. The days of adversity trains you to face your fears and learn to overcome them. However, when you run from challenges, you'll become a slave to fear. You'll be afraid of failing because you don't want people to criticize you. You don't want others to mock you, so you end up always giving excuses for your fears. You might call it being realistic. However, that is far from the truth. If you don't know how to do something, learn about it from people who can put you through. The modern world offers countless materials that can help you learn how to do anything. So the lack of information is no longer a tenable excuse. Don't live your life in fear. Face your challenges and damn the consequences. Shame. You'll live the rest of your life in shame and guilt when you remember how you backed down when you should have shown more courage. It gets worse when you see others who had more challenges succeed where you had failed. You don't want to tell your children that you had failed earlier in life because you were too afraid to take a bold step. They might not say anything out of respect for you, but they know that you were only giving flimsy excuses. You cannot afford to live the rest of your life in the shadows because you often break down when facing challenging situations. Now is the time to build mental strength by making the best of what life throws at you. Stop complaining about the things you cannot change and start working on the things you can improve. When life hits you, stand up and walk again. You will wish you did so later in your life. You don't have to remember your youthful days with shame and regrets when you grow older. Suicidal ideation. When you keep breaking down whenever you face unpleasant situations, you might end up taking your life someday. It all begins by seeing yourself as a person that doesn't deserve to be loved and treated with value. Lack of resilience will make you prone to errors of judgment because you will often blame others or circumstances for your predicaments. You'll believe that life has been fairer to others than to you. You will blame your parents for your poverty and your gene for your lack of dexterity and creativity. Indeed, your parents and other people in your life might have contributed to your lack of opportunities. For example, they might not have sponsored your education. Nonetheless, it is not an excuse. The world is full of people who educated themselves due to their determination and refusal to give excuses for failing in life. So at the end of the day, you are responsible for whatever you make of your life. So start taking more responsibilities today. Failure to do so can lead to having thoughts of taking your life at different points. In this video, we'll discover about how to build a resilient spirit. Now that you have a good grasp of the benefits and disadvantages of standing up during tough times, it's time to discuss how you can build a resilient spirit. The tips below will help you in this regard. See every challenge as an opportunity. The difference between people who stand strong when facing challenges and those who break down is their perception. The person withering away due to the situation feels there is no way out again. He or she feels things can never get better. Such people are fixated on what they have lost and find it difficult to imagine starting all over again after the effort they have put in initially. However, resilient people look on the bright side. They see the experience as a learning curve and are willing to start all over again. They aren't happy about the situation. Nonetheless, they know that they will be better off by forging ahead. They know that they will not gain anything by wailing and complaining. They understand that complaining and sulking will only make things worse. So they choose to see the unpleasant experience as an opportunity to be better prepared for future incidents. Failure doesn't mean you aren't good enough. Rather, it shows that you might not have been prepared enough, or the situation is just out of your control. So, if you want to build a resilient spirit, you have to see setbacks as opportunities to grow and learn. You need to start seeing adversity as a trainer that has come to make you mentally stronger and better prepared for the future. Always learn from your past. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Albert Einstein. Whoever doesn't learn from the past is not smart. Such a person is wasting valuable experiences that are supposed to make him or her better. It might sound strange that some people don't learn from their mistakes. One of the reasons some people make the same mistakes is that they feel their past errors were just coincidental. So they feel things will be different if they stick to their guns. Indeed, there is a place for sticking to your guns when you believe in the process. However, you should have a better and advanced version of the original approach that failed. The fact that a process didn't work out doesn't mean you need a complete overhauling. You might only need to tweak your approach a little to increase your chances of getting the right result. Just like the advice of Einstein, you cannot afford to stop growing and learning. A crucial part of your learning process is your past. Your past contains both the sweet and bitter experiences that have shown you better ways of doing things. You should leverage them to build a resilient spirit when facing challenging moments. Reduce your expectations. One of the reasons people get disappointed in life is that they have heightened expectations. There's nothing wrong with having desires you hope will be met. You can't expect to have a fantastic marital relationship. In the same way, you can crave your dream job. You need such desires so that you can pursue them as much as possible. However, you shouldn't see these goals as do-or-die affairs. In other words, if your relationship or even marriage doesn't work out as planned, remember J.K. Rowling. She's a good example of how a failed marriage shouldn't be the end of your life. Indeed, we cannot deny that it is a situation that can be emotionally devastating. After all, in an ideal case, people marry because they are in love and hope to spend the rest of their lives in the loving arms of each other. So when things go awry, it can be psychologically tasking. Nonetheless, you have to move on. Believe the best about your family, spouse, job, and every other aspect of your life. However, you shouldn't expect that nothing can go wrong. No one wants something bad to happen. However, you should have it somewhere in your mind that things might not go as planned. When you have this moderate expectation, you will find it easier to recover in case things go bad. Be optimistic. Despite the volatile and unpredictable nature of life, we cannot do without hope. We need optimism to go through life. Optimism is a positive expectation regarding certain things. You need to be positive during the days when things are rosy and pleasant. You shouldn't be fearful that something bad will happen that will turn your world upside down, even though that possibility cannot be ruled out. However, you shouldn't be making predictions of doom about any aspect of your life. This practice is tantamount to making a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's too negative, and you shouldn't engage in such limiting behavior. Moreover, the best time you need to be optimistic is after a major setback. You need to convince yourself that you can still live a happy and fulfilled life despite the unfortunate occurrence. People take their lives when they get to that point of hopelessness, where they feel that their lives aren't worth living anymore. You should guide against that. Don't just think optimistically. You should also write and speak optimism. Say it loud to yourself after a setback that you are coming back better and stronger. Take life one step at a time. You cannot afford to live your life based on the pace of the modern world. If you do so, you'll be overwhelmed with stress and pressure. You should take things slowly. When you are in a hurry to succeed, you'll struggle to recover when you face turbulent times. You'll feel that you're wasting valuable time, and that will lead to frustration. The most important thing is that you shouldn't be stagnant. As long as you are making progress, regardless of how little it seems, you should be satisfied with your life. Of course, if you find ways to accelerate your progress, you should take advantage of them. However, you should avoid desperation to get to the top because it can leave you with scars that will never heal. Don't be too competitive. Avoid unnecessary comparisons with others. Focus on yourself and the progress you are making. The only reason you shouldn't be happy with yourself is when you are not making progress personally. Don't measure your success by what others have achieved. It's crucial that you take things slowly, especially after a setback. Pick up yourself, walk, and then run again. Be flexible. There are times you need to be rigid. You need to stick to your guns sometimes because there are many people out there who feel you cannot succeed unless you dance to their tune and use their approach. However, the truth is that there is no formula for success in life. People use different techniques to achieve a level of success in different endeavors in life. So you should have a strategy and believe it will work. It's always better to do something the way you want it and fail, rather than follow a person's recommendation and fail. The latter hurts more. So don't allow people to throw you around because they feel their plans are better than yours. Nonetheless, you should be open to advice. You should be able to recognize good counsel and follow it. Find people who are more experienced and have succeeded in that endeavor. Seek their advice and compare it with your plan before drawing an inference. When you have people that can give you the tips you need to improve, it becomes easier to recover from a setback and forge ahead. In this video, we'll discover about common obstacles to building resilience. No one wants to be mentally weak. We all want to be resilient and be able to weather the storm. However, this isn't often the case. Below are some things that can keep you mentally weak regardless of your effort to build up strength mentally. Getting stuck to the past. You cannot recover from a setback when you keep thinking about your past. Indeed, you are hurt, and it's natural to feel that way. You've devoted your time, energy, and money to the business or relationship, but it's now all futile. It's painful. However, you have to move on. Moving on is the only good choice you can make out of the myriad of options you have. Other options will only make you bound to something that is gone forever. Your ex is gone. He or she might come back, but that shouldn't be your objective for now. You only continue to get angry and stir up negative emotions when you keep seeking reconciliation when the person doesn't want it. You cannot force yourself into people's lives. If anyone doesn't want you anymore, move on with your life. Imagine if J.K. Rowling kept crying every day because her husband divorced her. She would never have been able to produce Harry Potter. Don't have the notion that you cannot succeed without your significant partner. Indeed, there are people who come into our lives that make the journey easier. Nonetheless, nobody is indispensable. Pessimism about the future. When all you see about your future is darkness, doom, and bleakness, you cannot be resilient. You will always want to crawl into your shell to ruminate about the past because you don't have hope. What rule says that the remaining part of your life cannot be more glorious than all you have achieved in the past? It's not yet time to tell your story. Early bloomers often struggle when they have a major setback, and because they are afraid that they would never get to the previous height again. Some of them feel that they were too quick to fulfill their potentials and have nothing left again. However, this is not true. As long as you can keep seeking ways to improve yourself, you can always beat your previous records and set new ones. Low self-efficacy. One of the things people who aren't resilient lack is the belief in their ability to succeed after a setback. Indeed, it can be a long road back to redemption, especially when you are facing tough times because of something bad you did. Nonetheless, you can rewrite history. Do it step by step, but do it anyway. If you don't give up on yourself, the remaining part of your life can be the best part of it. Do you still remember the story of Colonel Sanders? As long as you are still living, you still have the chance to end your life in a special way. No one might give you a chance for a comeback, but you need to back yourself. Everyone, including your friends and family, might write you off. However, it matters little if you refuse to give up on yourself. You'll eventually convince critics and doubters when you start getting the right results. Keep singing, even when no one is dancing. Just be yourself, and people will eventually appreciate your uniqueness. Lack of the right relationships. It's easier to bounce back from a setback when you have the right people around you. Indeed, determination is a crucial ingredient that can make a person stand his or her ground even when facing strong opposition. Nonetheless, you also need your loved ones. In other words, it's easier to believe you can pull through difficult times when you have people to offer you the needed support and encouragement. We cannot deny or underscore the support of friends and families in our journey in life. It can be devastating when you look around and no one is willing to be in your corner during periods of need. You can feel lonely and rejected, which makes it difficult to be resilient. Our friends and families give us the courage and strength needed to overcome unpleasant situations. So when they mock us or turn their backs on us when we are struggling, our strengths might fail us. Even when you don't have money, a cordial relationship with friends and family can see us through. However, when these people reject or keep reminding us about our mistakes, it can become challenging to recover from a setback. Lack of focus. Keeping your focus during turbulent times is easier said than done. Nonetheless, you need to define your way out of an emotional abyss. Take your time to find somewhere you can be free from distractions and carve out a new plan. One of the ways you can maintain your focus in life is by setting goals. Goals give you a sense of purpose and direction as you go about achieving them every day. Note that setting goals isn't all about writing out the things you want to achieve. Rather, there are some skills you need to learn that can make the process a success. Your goals have to be specific and measurable. Besides, they should be relevant to you, achievable, and within a time frame. Once your goals possess these attributes, you are on the right path. Upward social comparison. Social comparison involves measuring your success by comparing yourself with people you feel are better than you or not up to your level. When you compare yourself with people that are below your level, it is a downward social comparison. However, it is an upward social comparison when you draw parallels with people you feel are better than you. Neither form of social comparison is healthy. However, the upward version is the worst. Upward social comparison hinders the development of resilience. You will keep looking at other people who have achieved the things you haven't achieved and feel bad about your life. This phenomenon is common in the modern world thanks to social media. Many people post pictures of their expensive possessions to get remarks and comments. If you aren't careful, it can make you start feeling dissatisfied and frustrated about your life. So when you are trying to recover from a setback, it is best for you to stay off social media to avoid developing negative emotions. However, when you are in a new situation, you might not have the confidence to face it because you are naive. This state of mind makes you prone to mistakes, which can be costly and damaging in some situations. In this video, we'll discover about Finish Strong. We will end this video course on a very high note by talking about how you can finish strong. You might have picked up this video course because you felt your life was crashing. Nonetheless, you can still build something glorious out of the ruins. The tips below can help you recover from setbacks and forge ahead to make something beautiful out of the remaining part of your life. Be grateful. I have no idea what you have been through. However, the truth is that it could have been worse. Yes, it left you heartbroken. You are mending your boat and still healing from the wounds, but it could have been worse than this. You need to start by seeing things from this perspective. Be grateful that you are still alive and still have a chance to do something with your life again. You might have lost a huge amount of money, but you still have your beautiful kids, lovely spouse, and a family who cares about you. Would you rather lose your loved ones rather than lose money? Of course, no amount of money can replace the life and company of your friends and family. So be deliberately grateful. Pick a jotter or journal and list out things in your life worth celebrating. Leave your home and go to places where you will find tranquility and just enjoy the ambiance. Go to the beach, mountain, or wherever you can connect with nature. Use those moments to value the basic things in life again: life, family, health. Breathe and stay in the moment as you prepare to mentally start all over again. Surrender is a choice. Never take it. If you fall behind, run faster. Never give up. Never surrender. And rise up against the odds. Jesse Jackson. One of the statements you should never make in life is that you don't have a choice. It's not true because you always do. You can never be mentally strong when you leave yourself at the mercy of the circumstances surrounding you. As earlier mentioned, there are people in history or in the world today who have faced situations more limiting than yours and still succeeded in their endeavors. Therefore, surrendering is a choice people take, and you should never see it as an option. Those periods of your life when it seems your back is against the wall are the best opportunities to turn a corner by refusing to give up. Those times are the best periods to pick up biographies of people who have faced similar situations and learn from the way they were able to recover. You have nothing to lose again. No one likes to fail, but failure is beautiful in some ways. In fact, it's good for your mental health sometimes. How? When you have never failed before, you are under considerable pressure to sustain your perfect record. You'll have many people thinking that you're some kind of superhuman, and that puts pressure on you. You want to maintain your status of invisibility, and that by itself can lead to anxiety. However, when something goes wrong, you and the people around you realize that you are not impeccable, and that will reduce the level of pressure and expectations they have of you. At that point, you have nothing to lose again. Therefore, it is a perfect opportunity to do the things without putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. You'll go about your business with a calm mind because you have nothing to prove to anyone. You are simply doing what you need to do to be the best version of yourself. So when you fail, don't be too concerned about what people have to say about you. Whoever has not failed before should write you off. Obviously, there's no one like that. Make new friends. Friends are there for you on the days you are being celebrated. You share good times with them and enjoy the pleasant occasions. However, those are not the days you really need them. The days of adversity are the periods you need that arm around the neck and a bear hug the most. If your friends are not there for you as a succor during your dark days, they don't deserve to be around you. You need to make new friends. Be around people who will give you the drive and positive energy you need to climb up the ladder again. Instead of sulking and wailing, talk to someone you know can encourage you. It helps a lot if the person has gone through that situation or something similar before. Remember to keep such people with you when the rainy days are over. It's unfortunate that some people have a culture of forgetting the people who were there for them during their moments of trial and tribulation. Don't be one of such ungrateful individuals. Share your pleasant moments with the friends who were there for you during your dark days. Take a step back to run forward. There's no doubt that we all love it when people say nice things about us. This desire is the reason people post pictures of themselves on social media. We all want people to tell us how beautiful, elegant, and brilliant we are. However, it's a serious problem when those comments mean the world to you. It's one of the reasons some people struggle to recover after a setback. They cannot imagine not being in the spotlight again. You should learn to take a break sometimes to come up with a new strategy. This approach is particularly important after a major setback. Don't be under immense pressure to start doing something again. Take time and analyze the situation. Identify the areas where you have made mistakes and think about how you could have done things differently. If you start again without learning your lessons, you'll make the same mistakes again. Believe in yourself again. Your journey back to the top begins with forgiving yourself for making mistakes. You cannot undo what you have done. So the best move is to let it go and try to make the best out of your life. Forgiving yourself will make you believe in yourself again. Note that you cannot succeed in any endeavor in life if you don't have self-confidence. It's natural that the thoughts of your past failures will run through your mind once in a while. Nonetheless, you should never let them limit you. To make things easier, ensure that you start by doing things you are confident you have mastery over. Leverage your strengths as you slowly build your self-esteem. It's not good for you to take another hit after a major crisis, so it is safer to do things you are sure of before taking risks. Resilience is a crucial ingredient that mustn't be missing in the life of anyone who wants to achieve his or her dream. Life will never give you what you want on a platter of gold, so you must be determined and choose never to give up. You'll experience many challenges on your way to greatness. If you see them as stepping stones to success, you will eventually become the best you can be. Otherwise, you will come back crashing to the ground. Life isn't about how many times you have failed. If you read the stories of great achievers, you'll notice that they weren't people who had it easy. Many of them have the odds stacked against them. Many of them were turned down by people who didn't believe in their dreams and ideas. However, they never allowed those moments to affect them. Instead, they defied the odds and faced their fears. They challenged the words of damning critics and were eventually able to prove them wrong. You can do the same too. You can choose to become stronger and build resilience from unfortunate situations you have found yourself in. Your story hasn't ended unless you choose to quit. Remember, the champions of today were once victims of adversity. However, they choose to learn from those periods to give themselves a better life. This is your opportunity to do the same. Take charge of your life and challenge the voices in your head telling you that you aren't cut out for the top.